What's up, friends? My name is Chris. Welcome back to Garage Thoughts. I want to continue our discussion on the war in Iran. A lot has happened today, so I do have some notes down to the bottom left. If you see me looking down, I am cheating. I'm sorry. My brain is typically scattered. I have a hard time remembering things, so just keeping things down. Although I do think that you're probably not here for all this. My face and everything, so I doubt you'll mind just listening to my voice for a little bit. Before we start on the news of the day, let's go a little bit more lighthearted. I'm wearing my Akron Zips hoodie today. I'm a proud alumni. We're going for our third straight MAC championship, men's basketball MAC championship this weekend. Hopefully we'll get the undefeated Miami Redhawks in the MAC championship game just like it was last year. And hopefully we beat those pricks again. So, no, I mean, Miami's had a great season. I do think that when we beat them for the MAC championship, that they should not get an at-large bid. I think their strength of schedule was quite frankly dog shit, and I don't think they should be rewarded for playing 3 NAIA teams. Like, Milligan, I think I saw them in fucking concert. Like, what do you mean you play them? I don't know. But now that that's out of the way, nobody came here for my sports opinions. We're here to talk the news, and talk the news we shall. So today, the Israeli government indicated that this war will last as long as it needs to last, is the terminology they used. Benjamin Netanyahu put on Twitter that it is time for the Iranian people to rise up and take back from the government, that Israel is actively working to create the conditions for the people of Iran to rise up and overthrow the Ayatollah. All this is saying is that they're just admitting now that they want Iran to become a failed state. They want to take Iran out as a regional power so they can have a regional, like, hegemonic power, and eventually springboard that into a world power. And it's blatant imperialism, and the reason they haven't done it since, Benjamin Netanyahu's admitted it. He said he's wanted to do this for about 40 years. The reason they haven't is because they have not had an ally in the United States that is willing to use military force against Iran. Despite the wishes of Senator Lindsey Graham, fuck that guy. But despite his war hawkish ambitions to bomb Iran since basically he got in there in 2002, 2006-ish. Besides him, like, nobody else was gonna sign off on that, especially after the disasters that were the war in Iraq and the war in Afghanistan. Politically untenable to do that. It really was. And there are reports now that Israel is preparing for Donald Trump to back out of this war. Because, again, this is a deeply unpopular war. We've seen at the lowest its approval rating is 27%. I believe that was an Ipsos or a Reuters poll. At the highest, I've seen like 44%, which I believe was a CNN poll that I saw. The war in Iraq, for comparison, now obviously is a deeply unpopular war. Everyone's going to act like they were against it the whole time. They weren't, because it was a 70+ approval rating. So you're telling me that this war is like minus 50% more unpopular at the time than the war in Iraq was, or minus 30% at the highest. It's insane. That being coupled with the cover-up of the Epstein files, that being combined with the affordability crisis and a large wealth inequality gap, the largest we've seen since the Gilded Age. And if you want me to cover a little bit of the Gilded Age later on, let me know. I can do that for you. Being mixed with 60% of the country living paycheck to paycheck, us all starting to somewhat gain class consciousness and say, like, hey, hold on, my dollar's not going as far as I used to. I'm working 2 jobs. I can't make rent. These billionaires are getting subsidies from the government, not paying any taxes. What's going on? You're starting to see that attitude a little bit. I think we saw a birth of it. I think I would say the modern form of populism in American politics was born out of the 2016 campaign, whether that be populist left with Bernie Sanders' meteoric rise in that political campaign, or like right populist in how Donald Trump framed his arguments going into 2016, because the arguments that he presented were framed in a populist perspective, and that really resonated with people. Now, did he carry through on any of it? Fuck no, but the messaging was good. Now the messaging is not good. He has lost the sauce. This dude is Sean Marion on the Cavs. Like, this dude's fucking gone. It's over. He's washed. He's cooked. So I do think that Trump will back out, because I think he severely underestimated the Iranian people's and the Iranian government's resiliency. I think he thought that once he killed Ali Khamenei, that it was just going to be, wraps for him. But here comes an even more hardline person in Mojtaba Khamenei, his son, and he's just going to push back against the American government harder, because, again, this is a war for survival for Iran. It is a war of imperialist and expansionist greed on the side of Israel and the United States, and it is a war of survival for Iran. Now, where have we seen this type of war before? Vietnam, anybody? Vietnam, Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan. We keep fighting these imperialist wars that don't do anything for the people back home, but do everything for the military contractors and the already 1% in the Epstein class. Like, that's it. And I think people have realized that slowly but surely. And I think that is reflected in the poll numbers for the war in Iran. It's either that, or this regime is so absolutely inept in framing or marketing anything anymore, because they just are emboldened by the sense that they can get away with it whatever the fuck they want, which has been mainly true to this point, which is not great. That all being said, Israel continues to attack Lebanon and attack civilian infrastructure, especially like power and internet was out near Tehran in Iran for a long time. They're targeting civilian infrastructure. And now Iran has come over and said, well, we're adopting an eye for an eye policy when it comes to warfare, which means they are going to start targeting civilian infrastructure, which is not great at all. So I'm trying to keep my opinion out of it, but it is, God, it gets so hard. It really does. So I hope you're enjoying the rant a little bit. Hold on, I had a couple more things I wanted to cover here. Oh yes, the attacks on Lebanon. So Israel has now expanded their war into Lebanon. They have displaced over 700,000 Lebanese citizens. And the Islamic Health Agency, I believe, the IHA has reported that Israeli strikes have killed 15 Lebanese paramedics. And the report also goes on to suggest that these were targeted attacks against the paramedics, which I probably shouldn't need to say it, but that's a violation of international law and a human moral code. It's kind of fucked up. You kind of have to laugh to prevent yourself from fucking going crazy. Secretary of Defense Pete Kegsbreath said that this would be the most intense day of United States strikes yet. Hasn't been. Yeah, it's just, that's one topic I do want to cover today. The administration's lies around just even today is insane. Pete Hegseth once again suggesting that this would be the most devastating day of strikes ever. Wasn't. Our own energy secretary on Twitter, or X, whatever the fuck you want to call it, puts out on social media that the United States Navy had successfully escorted an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz. And 2 hours later, deleted the tweet. And then the IRGC of Iran said, yeah, that didn't fucking happen. They're just lying about it. The reason that I believe, and you're more than welcome to disagree with me on this, the reason I believe that they did that was market manipulation. I genuinely believe that since oil prices and the stock market took a fucking major hit, it rebounded a little bit, but initially took a major hit as a response to this war in Iran. Them tweeting out that, oh yeah, we put an oil tanker through, Like, we're good. We can get oil. Was to ease investor anxiety about the war in Iran. It kind of restore market confidence. Now, the problem with that is that it's a fucking lie. He just lied. It's like the same reason he went on session, I believe it was yesterday, and said, actually, the war's fine. I think we've already won it. It was to restore market confidence. And how dumb are these investors? How dumb is the market that you still believe this guy? How many times have we seen the market collapse and rebound under Donald Trump in a year? It's more than I have fingers. It's definitely more than 10. And it leads me to a point where I'm like, I don't believe that these people have been conned this many times. I think it is market manipulation. It is a way to consolidate more wealth at the top. Because when people that can't really afford to see their stocks tumble, when they see their stocks tumble, they sell, they panic, they get out. And then the rich investors come and scoop up those stocks and give the old thumbs up to Trump, and he goes, okay, I fixed the thing that I broke, and then it goes right back up. It's happened like that more than a few times in less than a little bit more than a year. I don't think that's a coincidence. Part of me is like, I think this dude's too stupid to actually do that. And then another part of me is like, I think he's just evil enough to do it.